goodness. Alright, sorry guys. Shenanigans. My husband and the friend decided they needed to do something right before I got started while I was getting our dinner sorted and started, and then I was waiting on them to finish, and then I had to check on the bank issue, which still hasn't been resolved because the fucking post office where the bank is located, the branch that we had to send this information to, are idiots and are trying to take something to a place of business every time it's closed, and apparently it won't fit in a mail slot or something. I don't understand. It's a flat rate envelope. I guess it's too big for their mail slot. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So, and they never tried to deliver it Friday. They're like, oh, next business day on Thursday. I'm like, well, what happened to Friday? Friday's a business day. Friday's a business day, not a Saturday. They just never tried to deliver it Friday? I don't fucking know. And there's been no update on the scanner today. So, don't fucking know. Alright, so today we're going to be working down here. We might only have time to start to put our ground color in. We'll see what happens. We're going to actually hit play on the tutorial for a change. Do have it muted, so if you want to see the tutorial in full, here is the link for that, and that is on the Bob Ross YouTube page. That should take you to Season 3's playlist for Episode 5, Distant Hills. Okay, so he puts this, like, chocolate brown cliff in. And then does this like grayish highlight there. And we're going to pause it right there because we don't want to get too far ahead. Alright, so I hope all of you are having a good Monday so far. Hope it's a better Monday than mine. Because mine's not so great at the moment. But we'll see what we can get done here in the time that we have together today. Oh, I did get the speed felt finished from the last project, the Winter Night. Got that rendered, exported late last night, early this morning. I just have to upload it to YouTube. By the time it finished encoding last night, or this morning, I was just too tired. I'm like, I'll just deal with this tomorrow. Or when I get up at that point, because it was already well and truly today, so I was like, yeah, I really need to go to bed because I am super, super tired. I'm still super tired. I woke up at 11. I had to go to the bathroom and I couldn't breathe. I was stuffy. And I contemplated staying up then, and I was trying to work out how long I had been asleep, and I was like, well, I mean, I probably could just get up now. Wish I knew why it bowed out that far. I don't think it was from the way I pulled it up, because I don't always pull it up from the same spot. I don't know. But I finally got that all edited to go, and now I can either... I don't think I'm going to start editing the live streams on this one yet. That's going to take me a couple of weeks, considering we're not even done it yet. Though we are getting closer to being done this guy. We will and truly are. But I really don't want anything in progress. Although I haven't gotten the money yet, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I can still record stuff, so I'll probably be trying to record working on the embroidery hoop project. Along with some Planet Zoo stuff that's going to need to get recorded. But at least the Planet Zoo stuff shouldn't take too long to edit. So we got that going for us. I'm flipping it in the wrong direction. That's not good. Okay. I forgot which way we were supposed to be resettling this guy. Alright, so this is chocolate brown. It's the closest thing to Van Dyke brown that I have right now. At the moment. Oh, yeah, that is blatantly bowed out. It's a lot more exaggerated on this side for some reason. It's a little off on this side too, but it's not quite as bad over there. Okay, so I do see that I missed a slight spot in there. I think we're gonna have to come back in with just a little bit more of our brown here. And clean up that edge. Okay. So these pieces will take a few more minutes to get stabbed into place because they're a little bit thicker and they're a little bit bigger. Cow. That's enough. It's bothering one of the other cats. In true cow fashion. Okay. Ooh, I tell you, it's supposed to rain tomorrow morning, and I can feel it coming already. It's gonna be kind of a rainy week. So we're supposed to have rain tomorrow morning. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful on Wednesday. 71. I don't know if it's going to be windy or not. We'll see, I guess, when we get there. But it's supposed to be 71. But then Thursday and Friday they're saying thunderstorms. And I'm like, ugh. Right. It was like the sun was still in the process of setting. Like there was still, I guess it was dusky is the word I'm looking for. Around going on 8 o'clock last night. I was like, wow. I tried to squeeze a walk in. And it was the weird sort of not quite light but not quite dark where it was hard to see stuff. So I still had to have my flashlight. But and then somebody's dog whose house that we walk by all the time, I'm like, why is the dog in the front yard? We hear the dog from the backyard. We've never seen it in the front yard. It's like, well, it's nice to know what you look like now. they have like a big wooden fence that you can't see through, and we were like Russell's gonna keep on walking. I'm like, no, we gotta tell them their dog's out. I don't think they know. I think somebody's home. There's 2 cars in the driveway. And then I saw like somebody in through a window in one of the rooms, like you could, like the blinds were open, you could just see. And Russell's like, that's a child. And I'm like, well, somebody's gotta be home then. Like we were on the sidewalk, like we weren't peering in windows or anything, and we were trying to figure out if we could get to the front door without the dog totally going batshit crazy or running. And then we were trying to look up the house number to see if we could find a phone number to call them from the sidewalk, and then somebody opened the garage door, and they're like, hey, your dog's out. She's like, what are you doing out here? I'm like, we were trying to figure out how to get a hold of you guys because we didn't know if we could get to the front door. We weren't sure how guard dog this dog was. It looked like an Australian Shepherd. I don't think she really would have attacked me, but then again, you know, you never know. It's a dog that you're not familiar with. Want to be careful. She's like, thank you. I was like, yeah. So then I was like, well, if we stand here long enough and make it bark long enough, somebody might come to check on the barking dog. So, but it was, you know, that side street is pretty busy. And I was afraid they were going to run out into traffic. She's like, how did you get out of the yard? And we're like, I don't know. Russell's like, it looks like maybe a gate might be slightly open. Or a board might be loose or something. So hopefully they managed to get that fixed. But you know, we'll see. I've only, well, no, that's not true. I've had 2 dogs get away from me in the total time that I've owned dogs, so I'm extra paranoid about keeping them secure. The one was my monster dog. We didn't know there was a hole in the back of our fence not too long after we had moved to that particular property, and we thought there was a metal fence running around the entire length of the property behind the wooden fence that was up. Turned out he found a hole and he managed to get into the yard behind us, and the yard behind us wasn't fenced in. And I don't know, I can't say I don't know if he wouldn't attack anybody, because he's tried to bite my brother a couple times, but my brother was fucking with him, so don't really know what's going on there. Can we really not email that paperwork to them? They have to have it mailed.
It has to be a physical one with the raised seal.
Jesus Christ. And the other one was a big rough coat collie. The breeder was like, this dog does not want to leave here. Like, she had, for whatever reason, for some reason, she could not sell this dog, and the dog kept escaping people or would just sit in the corner and like wouldn't come out. And we went to take her out to pee after a lot of coaxing, and she slipped her collar and tried to make a beeline for it, And we finally managed to catch her. And we ended up having to take her back because she wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking. We were afraid she was going to make herself ill. Oh my goodness, that is all kinds of wonky. Although with that many layers in place, I'm not sure. I can bump over that many. I mean, sometimes if it's a single layer, you can kind of bump it over. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean that up. Not yet. We'll wait till we're done. Maybe when we put the tree in, it'll help pull everything over. Doubtful at this point, but that's what scissors are for. Is just wild how much that is off by. That could also be our fault because of how I did it. I didn't do the entire base coloring first. I was just kind of working my way down. Perhaps on the next one we'll do a quick outline maybe. Just to try to establish where things need to be. Because, oh buddy. Alright. Now I do have a couple of splits in there. Well, not really splits, but thin spots that have joined the party. I wasn't sure if I was really gonna fuss too hard with them, but I think I might try to get those guys covered up here. See what we can make happen, if anything. Okay. All of this sorted out. Quite a workout today. Very much so. We're back to adding the drab browns to our mat. Oh well. What can you do? This guy's very stiff because of all of the up and down stuff on top of the stuff, so we've got all kinds of, it feels like a patch, like a embroidered patch, kind of stiff. I know that probably doesn't make too much sense to some people, but see, as we're tapping up here, you can see where this side's getting pulled in from the felt fibers. So yeah, we definitely need a little bit of evening out here. I'm probably gonna have to like get the T-square or something. Maybe chalk line something in there. We'll have to figure out something. What that something is, I'm not quite sure yet. But I always knew this one was going to be a bit of a challenge. Didn't think it was going to be a challenging quite that way. Thought, you know, it was just going to be challenging getting the colors worked out and getting this to look somewhat close, or at least along the same concept of what we were dealing with. But we will see how this goes.
Am I cutting meatball for you today?
No, I'll just do cheese. Sorry, I had to think about it.
It's okay.
Alright. And we've got the fish just chilling in his little fishy sanctum. I don't have a whole lot for him to play with right now. He was really good about finding the food and eating it the second I put it in, but now that we've got the sponge filter, he seems to be having a little bit more trouble finding it before the bubbles in that the filter's putting out are knocking it down. But then he kind of chases them that way, so I don't know if he's like making a game out of it or what. But he's still in there fishing. Work on getting that tapped into there. Okay. Alright, now I'm just hoping that we're able to clean up the sides a little bit when we get there. See if we can work on this side a little bit. I'm gonna try to overlap them just a touch. And we'll see how things go. So far, I think we're doing okay down here. But we'll figure it out. It is supposed to rain tomorrow morning. I don't know if that helps you with your situation.
I'm having digestive problems too. That's the biggest part of it right now.
Okay. Do I need to stop?
No.
Okay. Alright, so. We will work on getting this stuff in place. So like the large chunks of color can take a little bit of time. You know, I mean, you're covering a good sized area. So it's not unreasonable. For it to take a minute or two, or 20, to get some base color laid in. Alrighty. Excuse me. Whew. Allergies are flipping out already. Thank you. Say already. We haven't even been up that long. It is fairly windy out, though. From the sound of things out there. Okay. I'll get this all in place. Okay, so what's everybody's plans for this week? I've got some stuff I've got to get posted to YouTube. Because we do have the YouTube channel. Links down below. Don't forget to subscribe over there. Subscribing on YouTube is free. It's the same as following here. We don't know if we're taking my mom anywhere this week. We haven't established that yet. I believe Russell has something going on tomorrow. In theory, just not entirely sure what yet. I don't think he's entirely sure what yet. There's two possibilities. What that could end up being for tomorrow. I see this was a piece that didn't quite brush out all the way. You can see the little yarny strand still in there. That's alright, we'll still use him. We'll still use him. No reason not to. Alright, so get this all worked into here. So we're still pulling that loose, not really loose, but we're still tightening up this fabric down here along this bottom edge. So I'd like to get some stuff recorded on the embroidery hoop project. We'll see if I have the time. But that's what I would like to do. Maybe get some work done on my paint by number. If I'm feeling okay, because that one can sometimes be rough on my neck for how I have to set that up. Pull that bad boy up there, and I need to move this because this keeps sliding all over. Okay, so we'll get this guy. And I don't know what color gray we're gonna do on our rocks here. We might just take some of that darker gray and maybe mix a little bit of the white into it, potentially. Okay. So, I don't know if it's going to take us all of our time today to get this in, but it might be close. Hopefully we can at least get the highlights in on this guy. But we'll see. I still have to... Oh, this is bugging me so much how that is so warped on the edge. Especially for how I was planning on hanging this guy. But we'll see if we can straighten that up when everything's all said and done. Plus, you know, Bob, he has to have a big ash tree, so there is going to be a tree coming up into here, so that might pull some of this back into the center. And it might not. We'll see. I mean, I've had them get a little wobbly on the edges. Not quite this bad before. So I am fascinated. But we'll see how things go. And what we can make happen with that. I really want to get my gouache reactivated. It's another thing I would like to do. I did not realize those cups were going to dry up the way they did. It's going to take some fussing to get that sorted out. Alright, so I'm just kind of twisting this guy a bit. Just to get him a little bit thicker. In the hopes that we don't get too many thin patches here while we're getting him all tapped down into place. We'll see, we'll see. I do know when we get done this guy, because we are getting closer to the end. We might finish this guy next weekend. More than likely. We don't have time to finish him today. I know that much. Maybe next Sunday we'll be finishing him. So we're on episode 5 right now. How many are in this season? So... oh, we're on episode 5, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he had 13 in this season, so 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 5, 6, 7, what, 8? 8 more to go. And I don't know if we're doing campfire. I don't know if I can pull campfire off, to be perfectly honest. I've really got to sit down and look at it. But when we get this one done, we'll be doing a planning session for covered bridge and probably quiet inlet. We might do a planning session for night light as well. We'll see how long these two take in that planning session. Because we do have hard stop times now because of other stuff going on in life at the moment. But, you know, we'll see how things pan out. But since we're working on the ground cover for this ground section today, let's see, what time is it? And I'm hoping to at least get the highlights in on this guy. He doesn't have that much more to go. He technically has like, what, 6 minutes left on this one, which is, I think, him just working on getting that tree in and getting leaves on it. So, in theory, we might be able to finish most of that in one session next week. Or the end of this week, rather. So we will see with that. Gotta get some Velcro on the bottom of our mat here. It keeps walking all over the place. So I'm kind of following our water line here. Just working on getting that big old cliff in place. Trying to find the edge of our outline here that we drew. Although this edge doesn't have to be as precise. I would like it to be precise, but we'll have a way of neatening that up if it comes to it. Alright, so we'll get this guy attached and then figure out our next section that we want to fill in here, if we're going to go up or if we're going to follow along the bottom. We might follow along the bottom. We will see, though. where the fiber feels like attaching. So I do have a thin spot right there. Not that terrible. And not all that unexpected either. Do I need to get him?
Yes, if possible.
Oh, Momo. Really, buddy?
It's Saturday week.
How long of a wait do you think it might be?
Probably like 20 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. They've got a pad, they'll survive.
Alright. We have emergency potty pads. We have gotten them to potty on, but Momo was standing there staring, so... Alright. Where's the thing? Where is the thing? Okay. I'll be right back, you guys. Give me like 2 minutes to get Pupper out to pee. Okay, sorry about that. The one doggo had to pee, and then as soon as I was walking back in, the other doggo was like, hey. I was like, really? So, both of the doggos had to go for the potties. Rather unexpectedly. So we are just working on getting it in our cliff face here, or bit of ground, or whatever you want to call it, here in the bottom corner. And I'm trying to stay along our bottom line here from when we kind of traced our area that we wanted to work within. So this felt piece was 9 by 12. The gray base here, and then I traced out roughly an 8 by 10 inner square that we are currently working on. Of course, the fibers had other ideas about what size it wants to be, but we'll see. A pair of scissors should be able to at least straighten that guy out on the sides, because we're not going to frame this one. We're not even going to try. I've left enough room on the edges here to attempt to do something. I'll get a little something something going in here. Alright. Now it does take a little bit longer to get your large color swaths laid in. But as we've said before, this is not a quick medium to work with. If you're looking for more of a start to finish in like one session, maybe look at your paint options, like probably acrylic paint, since that's going to dry a little bit faster. It depends, right? So depends on if you're just trying to have a quick turnaround, or if you're just looking for something fun that you enjoy, and it doesn't matter how long it takes to get a finished piece. Now, if we really wanted to use this but get finished pieces faster, we could also work smaller. Because, you know, the bigger your piece, the longer it's going to take. And that's just how things work. But that's true with anything, so. And also, you know, depends on how much detail you want to try to work in. Now, we have done a lot of following along with Bob's stuff, but I've also done at least one project, if not two. Well, at least one on camera. I've done a couple off camera. Just kind of making it up as we go. Or using a reference photo. And trying to replicate what I'm seeing. As best as we can. Alrighty. Ever so slowly getting that section worked in. Our bottom looks a little wonky now, but I'm gonna have split dowels, I think, is how we're gonna hang this. Like, we'll put one at the bottom, well, a set at the bottom, and then a set at the top, is how I think I wanna handle that. Should get that unprotected finger out of the way. That'd probably be a good idea. Okay, now got a little bit of a thin spot in here. So as I'm coming back in with our next bit of fluff, kind of want to try to lay that in over there. As best as we can. You alright?
Yeah, it was just little bits causing trouble.
What was she messing with? She was trying to mess with Zuzu the other day.
Nah, she's just finding stuff.
I saw her trying to tap his tail when he was walking through the hallway. He gets mighty upset about it when Cow does it. But then again, I think they're also doing it with nails out, so can't say I'd be a fan of that either. Alright, so we should at least be able to get this section filled in. We might get highlights started. Have probably about another hour to go. We might be able to get highlights done. Before I have to go and get dinner going. We're doing pizza tonight, so I had to make the pizza dough and let that rise before we got started. So I do have another thin spot up here. I might let that one go, because once we get our highlights in on top of it, I don't know if it's really gonna be something that we need to be too fussed about. Kind of a situation. Well, how about we start over here? She still wanted pizza, right? Husband? Russell? Russell?
Huh?
She still wanted pizza?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of late now, but... Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Went outside in the wind. And man, is it windy. I didn't have a proper coat on. I just had my cardigan here. My over fluffy sweater that I wear around the house. And it doesn't zip up or anything, it just kind of hangs open. And the wind caught the ends of it, and I was like, no! It's not too bad out temperature-wise, but when that wind blows, you can definitely feel a chill in the air still. I mean, it's going to be starting to get a little bit warmer. I think Wednesday's our warmest day of the week predicted right now. So, you know, we'll see if that actually comes to be. Friday and is he eating the leftover bits of dog food?
Might be.
From last night? And that hard-ass rice?
Might very well be.
Don't let him eat the dry rice.
Huh?
There would have been dry rice bits in there because I didn't grab the bowl and throw it out. Yeah, he shouldn't eat that. Momo, come eat the other dog food. Hey, Momo. Go eat the other dog food. You're picking out the icky. You've got my pants. You can't have my pants. Here, how about I get you some actual dog food? Here. Here. There you go. Eat that, buddy. He was dropping the bits of dried rice that were left in the cup from his dinner last night that I forgot to grab from him off of his little foodie stand and dropping them in his bed. He stole my pair of sleep pants that I had sitting next to the bed and scooted them into his dog bed. That dog is a klepto. He's like a magpie, except it doesn't have to be shiny. He's like a magpie with food and my clothes. Oh, I'm gonna steal this, I'm gonna steal that. I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? When he was younger, and a little more agile, and when our chairs were on, our desk chairs were on a surface that didn't really allow them to roll around without any kind of effort. They were pretty much stationary, unless you really put some oomph into rolling them. 'Cause the other room we were in was carpet. This one's like a fake hardwood floor. He would jump up in our desk chairs and see if we walked away from anything on our desk. So we don't really have a kitchen table to eat at. We don't really have room for a sitting down eating kitchen table. So we're just gonna eat in our room. And he would jump up, and if we had to go to the bathroom while we were still eating, or something happened and we had to walk away from our plate, he'd come back and we'd find him in our desk chairs looking at our plates to see if there's anything he could run away with. Sometimes he did it and we didn't notice anything amiss. But he'll also raid the trash can in the kitchen, given half the chance. So we kind of have to barricade the trash can. For a while we were using a pet gate in the kitchen, but then we figured out that he was jumping the pet gate because it wasn't tall enough. And then we started using the playpen fence that we had for the guinea pigs from when they were having non-cage time. That was supervised because the cats would jump into the playpen because there was no lid on top of it. And so we were pulling that part way across the entrance into the kitchen because it's a wide doorway, and we had a cat litter bucket that we would pull it up against, and we put bells on the end of the, like jingle bells on the end of the playpen fence, so that way if he bumped it or he tried to nudge it out of the way, we would hear the bells. Well, we had a kitty litter bucket there so that the cats could get in and out of the kitchen because that's where their food is, because the fence was a little tall for all of them to jump, and so they would use the kitty litter bucket as their ledge to go in between. And then we realized that Momo was jumping the kitty litter bucket, and I'm like, okay. So now we've just barricaded the trash can with our recycling buckets in front of it, and he can't get to it. He can't reach that far across. With how we have it set up. And a lid on the trash can didn't do anything, so when we had the lid on the trash can, he was just knocking it over, so like, okay. Right. And I'd never hear him actually leave the bedroom to go on his grand escapades. I would just either suddenly realize he was missing, or I'd be seeing him walking back in, and I'm like, or he'd wait until I went to bed. And he thought I was asleep. And then I'm like, hey buddy, you've been gone a while. And I get the guilty look away, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. I wasn't in the kitchen doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing, no. Like, you have a whole bowl of dog food, and you're gonna go out into the kitchen and eat the cat's food. We had to start putting the cat food up on a chair because the dogs were just walking up and eating the cat's food. I'm like, you have a whole bowl of your own food in the bedroom that you're not eating, but you'll come out here and you'll eat the cat food. And then they just look at me wagging their tails, and I'm like, ugh. Stop eating the cat food. That is the cat's food. You are not cats. And then the cats come in here and eat their food, and I'm like, really? It's like, cats, you have your own food. You're not the dogs. These pieces are way too big for you. Go eat your tiny little cat mouth-sized pieces. In fact, the one cat was doing it so much, I'm like, are you just doing this when you're out of food in the kitchen? No, no, he still had food in the kitchen. Like, really? Alrighty. We're almost done filling in this chunk. Almost. It's just taking a minute, that's all. See, this side's pretty good. On this side, though, alright. So that's quite a spot that didn't fill in right there. So I probably should at least fill that in so it doesn't look like a crater we got going on. Okay, so smooth that out. It's not too, I mean, it is noticeable to me. The camera's not picking it up that much. Well, no, actually it might be. It might not be a mark on my screen. No, it is picking it up. Yeah, right in there. There's another little bit of a thin spot here. But this one's a little bit more of a need to be filled because it's like a perfect little circle somehow. I'm not quite sure how we managed that, but we did. And yes, I also need to get yarn bags filled. This week at some point. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get that worked on. Okay. Alright, that one's a little bit noticeable. We've got like 2 here. But I think we'll be okay with those. Possibly. So, well, I don't know though, because now that I'm looking at it, the highlights aren't going to cover the whole thing, just parts of it. So perhaps we should just fill those spots in real super quick. It won't take much. Won't take much at all. Alrighty, and then we got one more. This can be a little bit of a small guy, doesn't have to be real big. Just to kind of fill in that spot right there. All right, now no. Okay, just gonna lay that back down. Just gonna try to re-straighten us out here. Along our edgy doos. Okay. Now we're not completely done with this color. We are going to need it some more at some point. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and put that back up on our work in progress fluff curtain. Okay. So, our highlights. Now, he used like a combination of this, the Van Dyke brown, and the white kind of mixed together. He gets this kind of like grayish brown. Sometimes when he does that, I'll just go with camel, but camel seems a little bright for here. I don't think that's really where we want to go with this. So I think we're going to use a little bit of a combination of our darker gray and maybe our soft gray. I was thinking about maybe adding a little bit of white in there, but now I'm not sure. The white might be too much. So if we kind of lay these guys in here together, and we can always come back with a little bit more of the soft gray. As we go. curious to see what will get happening here. I don't have it too thick. It is a little bit thinner. Well, our dark gray's a little thick, I guess. Our soft gray is pretty thin. We don't have a whole lot of it in here. And a lot of the times, the more pulled apart you have it, the more the color underneath is gonna kind of show through, and this might look a little bit cobwebby, like that fake cobweb Halloween-y stuff. We'll see what we can figure out here. We might come back in with a little bit more of that soft gray here. We don't want to kill all of this. We want some of our dark brown base color peeking on up through. Okay, so he kind of takes this down along the edge in here. Like in some spots it has a bit more of that camel color feel on his, but I don't want to introduce another new color at this stage if we can help it. So I think we'll just kind of keep going with what we've got. My fingers here lightly, the one that's protected, this one, just trying to keep this from bunching up too quickly as the barbs are traveling through our fluffy stuff here. So we don't want it to go all in one spot just yet. sometimes it can grab more than you're expecting. So if I don't have my finger there, it'll just start eating it like crazy. See, you can see it getting pulled in. But if my finger's here, it slows it down a little for how much is getting pulled in there and how fast. Found a crunchy spot in my pad. Might have been from where we spilled that wax. Not one day. So if you've hit like a section that feels a little different, just slow down through that section. Just to make sure you don't snap your needle accidentally hammering your way through there. So yeah, I probably am gonna add a little bit more of that soft gray in and around here. I don't want it to overpower our dark gray though either. Kind of have to work out a balance between the two. Just a little bit. And I'm stretching that fiber out before I lay it down, just to try to get it a little more streaky, a little bit thinner, just so it's not a heavy line as we put it into place. Alright, so I'm going to pop that up, just kind of smooth out the section that we're working in. And grab a little bit more of our medium gray here. And just a touch of our soft gray. and start laying that in down here. And try to just kind of work out. Now I'm scraping, I'm not actually stabbing in this motion. You can kind of hear the needle just dragging across the top. I'm not stabbing in right now, I'm just lightly scratching the top of it. Just trying to work out where I want this to get positioned into. If you stab in and try to do that, you're going to end up snapping your needle. Okay. Need a little bit more of this. I'm gonna try to pull it apart just a little so it's not too thick. And then I'm gonna grab just a little bit of our soft gray here, kind of do the same thing, and I'm gonna kind of lay the two on top of each other here. And then we'll start attaching this guy down into here. Seeing what we can make happen. So, scheduled for the rest of the week right now, we're going to be back in Coral Island on Thursday. Friday we'll be back with Solo Planet Zoo. We're going to try to do the Duo Zoo again on Saturday afternoon. That worked out pretty well. I'd like to squeeze in an extra Duo Zoo session somewhere just so I don't have to edit sometime this week, but I don't think I can this week. Our friend has a mini spring break going on, I think, from school. So him and Russell have been trying to squeeze in some extra nerdy time So I might not be able to do it this week, but maybe next week. We can try to squeeze a little something in somewhere. Alright, so we're just gonna try to figure out where we want some more highlights to go on this. Remember, don't kill all of your dark brown. We still want some chunks of that showing through. In areas. And I suppose if you really wanted to signify those areas as maybe crevices, you could probably grab like a black or something like that and just do like a real thin, like spider webby wispy layer like we're doing with these highlights over this section. Just to kind of drive the point home, I suppose. But that's gonna kind of be up to you. Well, everything's really up to you. It's your doodle. Get a bit of this worked in down here. Let's see what we can come up with here as we're working this in. I mean, you can try to be precise with it, and you might be able to be somewhat precise, but in the end, the fiber's gonna do what it wants to do. So you can kind of have a plan worked out in your brain, but is it necessarily gonna go with that? Not all the time. Sometimes you kind of just have to go with it. Be like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Now the wispy ones will probably take just a little bit more attention because they're so fine. They're a little bit harder to make sure that you've got everybody attached on them. It shouldn't be like painstakingly difficult or anything. You just have to have a little more patience. And just go over everything. Take your time. Alright. So, I feel like we probably need a little bit more in here. Now this is the same soft gray that we put in the sky. Our lighter highlight color that we're trying to use in here. I mean, it's not bad, but I want a little bit more action happening in here. I think that's a little too much dark brown. Action happening here. Alright, let's see about maybe right in here. See what we've got going on. I don't have the black next to me. I'm not sure if I have any black roving. Right here either. Cow cow. That's enough. I'll just wake up from a nap and look at the other cat and just bite them. Not viciously. The other cat's just laying there half asleep like, what? The other cats are amazingly tolerant of his behavior. Well, all except for one. He terrorizes one of them. Alright. Maybe just a little bit more on this. Maybe like right in here. Just a little bit more of our soft gray. And I think we'll be looking pretty good. In this section. So the lighter of the highlights in here, not too bright. So that's a good thing there. So we do have a couple loose ends here flinging about, so I'm just trying to get all those guys. You can see them in front of you. It might not be necessarily picking them up on the camera because they're so tiny. But, alright, so let's pull that up. And we'll smooth that out on the back again. Alright, now, let's see where we're at. Do we think that's enough highlight down in there? I think so. Because there's gonna be a bit more stuff happening down there. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the tutorial if I can find my mouse. So after he does this, then he starts to put in this tree, right? So I've got the tree. And that's going in, and he kind of fusses with that a little bit. Thicken in the trunk up a bit. And then he adds a second bit to this tree. So adding some limbs here and there. And then he kind of adds that in. Okay, now how much of that we'll be able to pull off, I don't know. We might be able to pull off some of it. So then he starts mixing some leafy floofs. Oh no, he mixed some grass color. So that was like a little bit of green, the slightest hint of green mixed into the yellow ochre color, which kind of ties back in our yellow from up in the hills here. And he's kind of got that worked in around these sections a little bit. So I think we've got enough of this all in here. And then he kind of comes back in with a little bit of highlight on it, just a teeny bit, and it kind of looks like he's using that same grass color. Just a tiny bit. And then he's gonna come back up and hit some tree leaves with sort of almost a slightly reddish tone, like a reddish brown, maybe like a sienna or something. We'll probably use that color that we did on the ground in here for that. I have that in roving as that undertone. And then, so he kind of does quite a bit there. I thought he added some to the little bit hanging off the bent branch, but maybe he didn't. So he kind of mixes that little bit of the grass color, some more of that he used down in here. And then he's kind of flinging that up into the trees a bit. It definitely looks like there's less green. Okay, so he didn't add any to those couple branches bent and hanging down. So, I mean, that's basically what we're going to be working on next week is our last tree here. And yeah, so I don't know, that'll probably take all of next Sunday, this Sunday. To work that guy in, depending on what time I start. I don't know if we'll fully finish him. It might slightly carry over into the next day. We'll see, but that's where we stand right now. And I don't have those dowel rods yet. I don't think I can get them by Sunday, so I might just have to take a photo of the finished product once we get the hangers on it for you. But we'll definitely even up our sides here as best as we can once we get the other tree in and we see if this is going to pull in a little bit. It might not because we've got so much roving and fluff in here. But that's where we stand for today. That's where we're going to pause today. So I do thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. Like I said, we'll be back on Thursday for sure for Coral Islands, and then Friday for the Solo Planet Zoo game. I don't think I can fit in an extra duo zoo this week. Maybe next week. But you guys have a great week. Don't forget to follow all of the socially things down below. We've got the Insta, the Twitter, the Kofi, and the YouTubes. Don't forget to subscribe over on the YouTube, because sometimes you'll see something that'll pop up that we didn't do on a live. Once in a while. It does happen. And I will try to get that speed felt up from the last project that we did sometime tonight. So until Thursday, you guys, have a great week.